Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And we're going to talk about stress. Not necessarily because I am stressed, although, I a little bit, but it's self-imposed, partially. So let me just sort of explain why I may or may not have been stressed, and maybe still a little am. So, as you may or may not know, I have a lot of websites. And some of these were hosted on one Namecheap server, and that server was limited in space to how many sites I could have. I recently started a new website for a project that I'm working on. Didn't have room there, and I'll upgrade. And unfortunately, I was not able to upgrade the server. I had to get a completely new hosting package. That's fine. But now, because the original server, or rather the original hosting package, is running out, I've got just under a month until that expires. Well, I'm not going to renew that when I've got this other hosting plan, right? So I'm working to move all of the sites over to the upgraded host. And, I wish things were easier, but they're not. So what I'm having to do, and I'm sure that, somebody that I know is more technical, and they're like, well, what you need to do is this, that, input this code here, and then boom, and everything just moves automatically. But I've not been able to find that, easy button. So I've tried the thing of back up the hosting server, upload the backup to the new host, and I thought that everything would be there, but it's not. So I'm having to basically rebuild all of these websites. Luckily, I've been able to export the site and then upload that export into the new install of WordPress. And then I still have to go through and correct the links because, you re-upload images and you re-upload documents to the new WordPress install, and then all of the links wind up changing. And it's wound up adding a lot of extra work that I really wasn't planning to have. But that's fine. I'm going to get through this. I only have a few more sites. I think I have 3 more sites, maybe. Might only be 2. 2, possibly 3 more sites to wind up transferring. I've already transferred 4 or 5. I've totally lost count. So, yes, when I say I run a number of websites, I run a number of websites, and that number is greater than 1. Because 1, technically, is a number. So is 0. -1 would also be a number, but if someone said, I run a number of things, and that number is negative, then really that's 0. Right? And that's something that I forget who I was having a discussion with, where they're like, I've, something, a lot of women. And I was like, well, technically 0 is a number. And they're like, all right, you got me. So, anyway, let's go away from Darryl's weird random rant to stress. And I've actually got 2 articles. The first is actually ways to use stress to your advantage before getting into the techniques that you can use to reduce stress. So how can we use stress to our advantage? Well, the first and The link comes from, or rather the story comes from lifehack.org, and as always, there will be a link in the show notes. Number 1, they say, choose to have a positive attitude. Let go of negative emotions and past mistakes. Allowing these things into your life on a regular basis will zap you of your energy and cause you to waste many mental hours holding on to them. Clean up messes, get help if you need it, and anchor yourself to some good cause. Daniela Kaufer, associate professor at UC Berkeley, did some research on the differences between good stress and bad stress when it comes to ensuring stress is beneficial rather than harmful. She said, if you tend to have a positive attitude, a self-confident sense that you can get through a rough period, you're more likely to have a healthy response than if you perceive stress as catastrophic. And again, they do link here to that research. Number 2 on the list, embrace a new perspective. Sometimes we need to see our lives and our relationships differently. Stress is the perfect path to take to do that. Get a change of scenery, improve yourself, open your mind to new opportunities, start seeing things differently, and that burdened feeling that you've got might just go away. Number 3, and I promise not to break into song here from that movie Frozen, but learn to let go. Now, see, you thought I was going to say let it go. Let it go. Something about snow. I really don't even know the lyrics. I've never seen the movie, but I've heard the song, and it kind of gets burned into your memory, but it's not really that memorable. But anyway, learn to let go. You are never meant to be in control of the world. The world will roll right on, even if you take a break, and even if you go on vacation, and even if you drop off the face of the earth. And, you know, this is something, not that I've been stressed about the amount of work that I do, but, you know, I've often wondered will people wind up, missing things if I take a day off? Like, I do not allow myself to take a day off, but maybe I should. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, and Liberty Radio.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. 6 ways to use stress to your advantage, and number 3 is definitely speaking to Darryl. And for those of you just tuning in, I'm Darryl. And yes, sometimes I refer to myself in the third person because that's just what Darryl does. You were never meant to be in control of the world. The world will roll right on if you take a break, if you go on vacation, or even if you drop off the face of the earth. Stress will make you take that break you really need if you let it. release your grip on the steering wheel of life and free yourself to be out of control sometimes. On the flip side, stress can make your life interesting at times. Dr. John White, Vice President of Discovery Channel's Health and Medical Education, says challenges like asking someone out on a first date, facing and conquering a known fear, interacting with people you've never met, even learning something completely new, these may not immediately come to mind when you think of stressors, and maybe that's because of the positive outcomes that come from them, but they're the types that can help you achieve fulfillment, health, and happiness. Number 4, focus on certain aspects. If you're dealing with a big problem that is impossible to solve all at once, then don't try to solve it all at once. Focus on one aspect at a time and deal with it little by little. And this is something that I've discussed numerous times here. And I forget where I got the example of cleaning the kitchen from, but it's a perfect analogy of you want to clean the kitchen, you walk into the kitchen, there's a mess on the floor, the sink is full of dishes, the stove is dirty, the counters have stuff all on them, and so then you're overwhelmed, you turn around, you walk away. No, you tackle one thing at a time. Sweep the floor, clean the counters, or you might want to clean the counters and then sweep the floor because stuff might fall from the counter onto the floor. But you get what I'm saying. So do one thing after another, and then eventually, after you've done 6 or 7 smaller tasks, you've completed the goal of cleaning the kitchen. So again, focus on small aspects, and then the bigger thing winds up being done. Even if you're not dealing with a problem, but a really big project, take time to break it up and focus all in one thing at a time. Number 5, and this one is very important, get good sleep. So many things to do in so little time, so we sleep less and we hustle more. That's what a lot of people tend to do, but you shouldn't. You're not superhuman, and you need a good night or day, in some cases, depending on your schedule, of pure old sleep. Proper rest will give your mind and body time to clear out the negative vibes and prepare you to face the world brilliantly. A 2013 study of stress in the lives of Americans shows that most adults reported they were sleeping 6.7 hours each night, which anybody that understands simple math knows that 6.7 hours is less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours per night. Additionally, many people see their stress level increase when the quality and length of sleep decreases. And number 6, and I'm kind of good at this one, but probably not in the way that they mean it here. Share, talk, open up. As I've said before, this show is basically my therapy. And I realize that, most people do therapy privately to where they're sitting one-on-one with a trained professional of some sort, whereas I would rather sit here behind a microphone with, hundreds, possibly thousands of people, some of them I know, most of them probably strangers, listening to me talk about my problems. And for me, again, that's therapeutic. Not necessarily for everybody. But what do they say here? They say stress can make us feel burnout. When we're burnt out, we really need to talk to someone, not curl up in a hole and cry. Share with someone close to you the things you're dealing with. Opening up to a partner or close friend will help you clarify your problems and see things from a different point of view and realize opportunities that may have been there all along, but you just did not see them. UCLA psychology researchers found that men and women respond differently to stress. While men tend to retire to their offices at work, Women would tend to come together for lunch or just to talk. And again, I've talked about this, not necessarily at length, but I have talked about this to where there are certain things that society, yes, that's a collective term, but you know what I mean. Society has deemed that certain responses are not, quote-unquote, appropriate for men. And as I said last Friday, the only emotions that men are allowed to show in public, anger, and that's it. That's the end of the list. That's the only emotion that men are allowed to share in public. Well, sometimes excitement and happiness, but only in certain situations. You're at a football game, perfectly okay to show excitement and happiness at a sporting event, or if you're out with your family. Otherwise, no emotion unless it's anger. Surprisingly, the researchers at UCLA found that animals and humans, that while estrogen, or rather they found through animal and human research, that while estrogen in women increases oxytocin, testosterone in men impedes it, thus allowing stress to increase compassion, sensitivity, and understanding in females. Some stress is bad, but mostly stress can be good for us if we choose to make it our buddy and not our arch enemy. When we're just not coping with our stress, but actively working through our stress, we set ourselves up to thrive, and when we thrive, everyone is happy. So, let's talk about ways to reduce stress, shall we? Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and now available as an audiobook. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And we'll jump into this new article, 10 Techniques to Reduce Stress. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about a way that you can keep your money in the free market. That is, assuming that you use free market money, right? You do use Bitcoin, correct? Hopefully you do. Or, one of the other virtual currencies, cryptocurrency competitors to Bitcoin. Well, if you use those, then still listen here. Go to spendabit.fppradio.com and then bookmark that. And the reason you want to bookmark that site is, because Spendabit is the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin-accepting merchant, like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. spendabit.fppradio.com. So we've already talked a good bit about stress, so I'm going to skip the introductory paragraphs here and just jump into this list of 10 techniques to instantly reduce stress. Number 1, focus on your breath. And this is actually a meditation technique to where you focus on the breath. You actually, you will watch yourself breathing. And I know it sounds weird, right? But just sort of picture the air going into your nose and then circulating down into your lungs. And then it stays there for a moment. And then you exhale the breath through your mouth. And then you visualize the air leaving. And then again, you visualize the air going through your nose and then to your lungs. And then hold it for a second. And then you exhale through your mouth and you visualize the circulation of the air. Again, it's a meditation technique. I'm by no means a meditation master, but every meditation that I've ever done, it always starts off by talking about focus on your breath. And the article is right here. Like, that's a really good way to reduce stress. Well, what's the old saying? You've probably heard it 1,000 times of, breathe slowly, count to 10 before making important decisions or responding to certain things. So, yeah, focus on the breath. They say here, your thoughts are directly related to your breath. If you have a tight chest, worried thoughts, or anxious feelings, chances are you're breathing too fast or too shallow. Slow down your breath to balance your mind by inhaling for a count of 5. Hold the breath for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. Number 2, cool down. Cooling down your mind and body rebalances your energy and allows you to take action from a more centered place. An ancient yogi technique to cool down your mind and body is called Shitali Pranayam. Open your mouth slightly, curl your tongue, and allow it to slightly protrude past your lips. Breathe in through your mouth and out through your nose. If you can't curl your tongue, inhale through a round O shape in your mouth instead. Try this technique for 2 to 3 minutes. And while you're doing that, you will have time to pause. If you react too soon during a stressful situation, you may say or do something that you will later regret. I'm sure you've been there. I know I have been. And I've actually intentionally avoided situations where I knew that I would say something that I would later regret. Back to the paragraph here. Unless you're in an emergency situation, your response can often wait a few seconds. Transform the pattern of immediately responding to taking the time to pause, breathe, get calm, and gather yourself, then respond verbally or by taking action as the situation calls for. Number 4, and this is actually something I'm going to do here in just a little bit, get out in nature. And you might be asking, but Darryl, last week, weren't you talking about how it's still wintertime in New Hampshire? Well, it was. We've got springtime today. It's 60-something. So, yes, I'm definitely going out into nature here in a little bit before getting back to the work of moving websites to a completely new host. They say here, getting in nature has an instant calming effect, whether you choose to sit on a beach, to hear the waves crash, walk through a lush green forest, listen to the sound of a nearby waterfall, or hike up a mountain. Just get yourself outside and allow nature to put everything back into perspective. And I've read the, quote-unquote scientific reason that being in nature has this de-stressing effect. And a lot of it has to do with the fresh air. But there's, things that are in the fresh air caused from the plants, which is why a lot of offices have plants in them to try to have something akin to fresh air inside so people aren't as stressed. There's 6 more items on this list that we will power through here in the closing moments of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. The liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to ZOG.Ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, ZOG.Ninja, code FPP.
This is Jeremy Scott, host of Dark 30. You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Going through the list of 10 techniques to instantly reduce stress. Number 5 on the list is mindfully exercise. Exercise releases natural adrenaline and endorphins that make you feel good, and more mindfulness to your workout by focusing intently on the activity you're doing. Observe your technique and how it makes you feel. Get connected to your body. This workout window allows you to get fit and even take a break from your stress. Head outside, run, go for a bike ride, hit the gym, attend a yoga class, etc. Working out during your lunch break also allows you to stay more focused and calm when you return to work. Number 6, and this is one that if you're kind of old like I am, and I'm being sarcastic there, you've probably heard this advice in a completely different context. Take a cold shower. Hypotherapy is a precise and sophisticated science with a multitude of benefits for your body and mind. I'm not going to read the rest here, but as always, the link will be in the show notes. And I generally will end my shower by slowly turning the water to cold and let it just be cold on me for a couple of seconds before turning completely off. And there's things that happen to your body with that, sudden change of temperature. Number 7, put on relaxing music. Number 8, give gratitude. Number 9, visualize success. And number 10, drink a green smoothie. If you know me, you know how much I hate vegetables, but I do drink them. Kind of. I put this stuff called spirulina in my smoothie, and spirulina is made from an algae that has like all of the amino something things that the human body needs, apparently. So, yeah, I kind of do drink a green smoothie every morning. Also, I use a peanut, not butter. I almost said peanut butter. It's peanut spread and coconut, or coconut and peanut spread. It's got coconut oil, and somewhere between 60 to 90% of it is peanuts, hence the term peanut spread. But that's really good. And there's a bunch of other supplements that I put in there as well. So, yeah, I do drink the green smoothie, and, not going to say that it's made me not stressed, but it definitely does give me energy. Hey, don't forget, every Friday I answer your questions. Send those over ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.